Today we're covering 3 underrated side hustles that are earning people tens of thousands of dollars to 6 figures, and I'm going to show you how you too can start them, using of course Claude AI. I'm also going to give you the exact workflows and prompts I created, so you can copy them and try these out yourself. And here we go! First up is Excel freelancing. Yes. So recently I was browsing on Fiverr and I discovered that people are making thousands with Excel. Take this seller I found for example. He has completed more than 1,500 orders and judging from the reviews, the $40 and $90 packages seem to be among the ones people purchase the most. So if we do some very rough math, 1,500 orders at $40 would be $60,000 in earnings. And at $90, that would be $135,000 in earnings, just using Excel. Then I found another seller from Pakistan who has completed more than 2,600 orders. And even if every single customer somehow bought only the cheapest package, that would still be tens of thousands of dollars in earnings. And when you look at what they are actually selling, this first gig says, I will clean, organize, and merge your Excel or CSV data, while this other one is offering to clean Excel contact databases. Now, if you are like me, you might be sitting there thinking, Annie, what the heck is a contact database? What is CSV data? And what are these people even doing? Yeah, all this sounds way more technical than it really is, because most of us have barely touched Excel in our lives. But once you see the workflow, it's pretty straightforward stuff, especially now that we have our little friend Claude with us. Let me show you. So what I have pulled up here is an example of a contact database. Basically, a lot of businesses keep spreadsheets containing their customers, subscribers, or people they might want to contact, and then they upload those lists into tools like HubSpot. The problem is that those spreadsheets are not always organized properly, so there might be duplicate people, missing phone numbers, broken emails, names written in different formats, and all kinds of other random mess inside the file. Before the business can properly use that list, somebody has to clean it, and that is basically the service this Fiverr seller is providing. But instead of sitting there and manually going through every single row, I can now pull up Claude here, give it the prompt explaining what needs to be fixed, and let it clean the file for me. As you can see, Claude starts working through the database, and once it is finished, we have a properly cleaned contact list that the business can now upload and use. That is pretty much the job, and you can charge around $50 for this type of work. After seeing that, I went over to Upwork to see what kind of Excel jobs people were posting there. Because unlike Fiverr, where you create a gig and then wait for somebody to find you, on Upwork, the clients have already posted the work they need done and you can apply directly. What you need to do is go into the jobs section, not talent or projects, and then search for Microsoft Excel as a skill. There are thousands of jobs open right now, and trying a lot of them with Claude, I was genuinely shocked by how many Claude could handle pretty easily. For example, take a look at this job here. Remove unsubscribed records from a list of subscribers. I will provide the list and the 45 people to remove. You just need to find them in the Excel list, delete them, and return the sheet to me. And this job pays $30. So I created 2 example files to recreate this job, with one file containing our fake subscribers and another containing the 40 people we need to remove. I gave both files to Claude, gave it this prompt, and when I checked the result, those 40 people had been removed without anything else in the file being changed. I mean, this is so cool because I just finished $30 worth of work in maybe 5 minutes at most. Here's another job paying $100. I have a 30K plus database that needs to be reorganized. It has multiple email and phone number fields. I need someone to create something that makes sense. Now, when you first read 30,000 records, it sounds like some huge complicated job, but what the client is basically saying is that their spreadsheet has the same types of information scattered across way too many columns, and they want somebody to reorganize everything into a cleaner structure. So I created a fake Excel list like that with thousands of contacts where, as you can see, there are a stupid number of columns and the whole thing is hard to read or understand. I gave the file to Claude, explained what the client wanted, and let's see how this goes. Okay, so when I open it up, you can see that Claude has reorganized all of that information into a much cleaner and simpler structure. So again, that is a $100 job I was able to complete with Claude within a few minutes. Need a professional executive type dashboard, expecting better visualization of the data shared in Excel sheet. So I have opened an Excel sheet here containing some of the data from my recent YouTube videos, and as you can see, it just looks boring and ugly with rows, columns, numbers, and nothing here making me want to look at it for longer than 3 seconds. The client most likely has a larger sheet than mine, but the situation is basically the same, that they have all this information sitting inside Excel, and they want it presented in a way that is easier to look at. So I gave my sheet to Claude and told it to turn the data into a visual dashboard, but I also wanted to test how far Claude can really take it. So I gave it my channel's pink and purple brand colors and told it to base the design around them. Then I attached my logo image, which was inside a square frame, and told Claude that I don't want it like that, but I wanted it placed inside the dashboard in a circular frame. I didn't think it would actually pull it off, but check this out, girl. It came out exactly how I wanted it. There is even a separate rankings tab with this beautiful gradient going from the highest views down to the lowest. Now, you might be thinking, wow, this seems so easy, but there are a few very important things you need to hear before jumping into this, guys. First is start with entry-level jobs, and don't go straight for the high-paying expert ones. It's not that Claude can't handle them, but while all the jobs I showed you earlier went pretty smoothly, when I tried some more complex ones, there were multiple times like Claude made small mistakes, or I had to go back and forth a few times to get the result I wanted. So start with simple work like cleaning contact lists, removing duplicates, or turning images and PDFs into Excel sheets. I'd also recommend watching a few basic Excel tutorials on YouTube. You don't need to become an Excel ninja, and Claude can still do most of the work, but if you got the basics, you'll be able to catch its mistakes. And you also need to be careful on Upwork itself. Some clients might ask you to complete some sample task for free before hiring you, and if that happens, just run away, don't even look back. And check the client's reviews, payment history, and previous jobs before sending your proposal. Okay, just before we move on, I want to talk about today's sponsor, which is nobody. But I do have a pretty exciting announcement. A lot of you have been asking me to upload more often, and since these videos take me 7 business years to finish, I started a free newsletter called Open Tabs. Yep, I'm really excited about this. It's where I'll be sharing more side hustle ideas, ways to make money online, useful AI tools, and deeper dives into some of the things I cover here. I'm also putting all the exact prompts from today's video in there. Open Tabs is completely free to join through the link below. Back to the video. Check this out. This is a fitness logbook workout journal for men and women where people can track their weight loss, muscle gain exercises, and all that gym stuff. And when you open the book, look at this thing. It has this plain, boring black cover with some basic text slapped on it. And the inside is pretty much the same simple workout template repeated again and again for people to fill in. There's nothing crazy here, nothing super creative, aesthetic, or cute. This is not exactly knocking your socks off, but this thing has 2,672 reviews. Now, the average review rate on Amazon is usually somewhere around 1 to 2%. So if we say 2% of the buyers left a review, this simple little logbook could have sold around 133,600 copies. And if we use 1%, that would be around 267,200 copies. And it could easily be higher because most people don't feel strong enough about a workout logbook to come back and leave a review like they would for a phone, a watch, or some expensive product. But even using the lower estimate, 133,600 sales at a $9.99 selling price is over $1.3 million in revenue. And Amazon shows over 400 bought in the past month. So this brought in over $3,900 just this last month. But what's interesting is this isn't even their only one. When you go to their store, they sell the same logbook again in different colors. And those versions are also getting around 50 to 100 sales a month each. So once you pile all of them together, this seller could be bringing in around $6,000 from these simple logbooks. Now, you might be like, okay, Annie, this sounds cool, but I don't own a warehouse. I don't have printers. I don't know how to ship a single damn book. Well, you don't have to worry about any of that, girl, because that's where Amazon KDP comes in. If you don't know, KDP is Amazon's self-publishing platform. You upload your book to Amazon as a PDF, and whenever someone orders it, Amazon turns that PDF into a real physical book. They print it, ship it to the customer, deal with all that mess, and take their cut. So the only thing you need to create is the digital PDF. And before AI, that was the pain in the ass part. Because even though a logbook looks simple, you still had to figure out the page layout, the sections, the boxes, the spacing and stuff. But now, with Claude, most of that can be automated, as I'll show you in a bit. You might be wondering now, why am I talking about logbooks instead of like coloring books, puzzle books, or storybooks? Those are the ones you see creators talking about in pretty much every Amazon KDP video. Well, apart from selling well and being pretty simple to create, logbooks are also evergreen. They're not tied to fashion, hype, or whatever random thing TikTok has decided to become obsessed with this week. This income and expense logbook, for example, was published almost 4 years ago and still got over 3 300 sales in the past month. And there are an endless number of niches and sub-niches you can create logbooks around. Fitness, camping, business, health, sports, maintenance, and even things like, yeah. So here's the Claude workflow I created for this. You can start by asking Claude to give you a list of logbook niche ideas. But I don't just pick one at random and tell Claude to spit out a book. I take one niche, go over to Amazon, and see whether it's even worth touching. I check the competition, the ratings, how many reviews the books have, what the covers look like, what the interiors look like, and especially the negative reviews. Because the negative reviews are where people literally tell you what's missing and the gaps we can fill. Then I go back to Claude and give it everything I found. The niche, the competitors, the complaints, and any ideas I have. And this part matters because if you just type in, "make me a blood pressure logbook," it'll probably hand you the same generic blob it gives everybody else who typed that exact prompt. But when you give it the research, the reviews, and the gaps you found in the market, now it can help you create something much more useful than what's already out there. Then I use Claude to create the interior itself. And as you can see, it comes out pretty damn good. After that, I make the cover using a tool called Kittl. They got this AI that makes it super easy to design nice looking book covers. And once the interior and the cover are finished, you upload everything to Amazon KDP. Now, one thing I do want to say is, don't just spam publish the exact same book, because Amazon doesn't like that and you can get your account in trouble. So if you're doing this, make sure each book is different. And title your logbooks specific. Look at this seller here. Instead of calling their book something broad like cleaning checklist, they called it Home Cleaning Planner and Checklist Book for Women Adults. So the title is more specific. The cover is made for that audience, and the whole thing feels more targeted. Then when you check their other books, you can see what I mean. They have multiple logbooks, but they're not all just plain copy-pastes. They are in different niches. They got different covers and different titles. So the last Claude side hustle on our list today is one you've probably heard of before, but I still think it is the most slept on. AI newsletters. A lot of people seem to think newsletters are dead and nobody reads emails anymore. But you know what I see newsletters as? Whale vomit. Yeah, very weirdly specific, I know. But whale vomit looks like pure garbage, but this stuff sells for 25 grand a pound because apparently it is the secret ingredient in the most expensive perfume in the world. Newsletters are basically the whale vomit of the internet. Most people think they're worthless, but when it comes to monetization, there's almost nothing quite like a newsletter. Check this out. This is Superhuman AI. It is basically a free newsletter where people sign up and get AI news, tools, prompts, and updates sent straight to their email. According to Business Insider, back when this newsletter had just over 300,000 subscribers, it was already bringing in 6 figures per month from advertising alone. That was 3 years ago. Today, it has over 1.5 million subscribers, so God knows what this thing is pulling in now. And they used ChatGPT to build their newsletter. Yep, they used AI to build a newsletter about AI and turned the whole thing into a 7-figure business. But okay, I already know what you're about to say. Annie, they have over 1 million subscribers. Of course they're making ridiculous money. And yeah, girl, you've got a point. So let's bring this all the way down. Here's a newsletter with just over 1,000 subscribers, whose creator made more than $1,400 in a single month and over $2,500 within 2 months. So no, you do not need 1 million people reading your emails before one of these starts making actual money. That is what makes newsletters so interesting. You can make money through ads, paid subscriptions, affiliate products, consulting, courses, and the list goes on and on. And you don't need to begin with some giant following either. Dylan started Growth Currency from zero as a small side project and initially wrote it for the few hundred people following him on Twitter. Now, if you want to start one yourself, here is the workflow I came up with. The first step is you need to find a niche. So to find that niche, you can ask Claude to find profitable newsletter ideas or start with something you already like, whether it's AI, animals, robotics, hacking, gaming, whatever, and ask it to find smaller newsletter opportunities around that interest. Once I pick a niche, I ask Claude to dig deeper and find the biggest newsletters already covering it. I then subscribe to those newsletters, and this is where things get pretty interesting. You can connect your Gmail account to Claude and let it go through everything they sent that week. For example, I say something like, look through my Gmail inbox for any AI newsletters from the last week. Show me the recurring topics they covered, summarize the biggest stories, find anything they missed, and give me 10 original ideas I could write about. So now Claude is not just randomly generating generic AI news ideas. It is looking at what people in the niche are already talking about, finding the patterns, and then showing you where there may still be something new to add. From there, you can use it to research the strongest ideas and turn them into the actual newsletter posts. Then you need somewhere to publish the thing. Personally, what I use is Beehive. For me, it has the best mix of tools for growing and monetizing a newsletter when you're starting from zero. They also have an AI website builder where you can describe what you want and it will design the newsletter and landing page for you. But the biggest reason I would use Beehive is the built-in monetization. They have an ad network that connects newsletters with sponsors, along with boosts where you get paid for recommending other newsletters. One creator I found with around 1,000 subscribers made $600 from Beehive ads and another $300 from boosts. And that is extra money on top of whatever other income streams she already had running through the newsletter. And by the way, this was not supposed to be the full tutorial. We have barely even touched the surface here. I already know some of you are probably thinking, okay, but how am I supposed to get even the first 100 subscribers? And that is obviously the other half of this whole thing. A lot of newsletters use platforms like Instagram, X, and Medium to bring people in. So I'm going to make a full video on this very soon where we actually build the whole thing properly. I'll go much deeper into finding a strong newsletter idea with Claude, researching what people in the niche actually want, getting Claude to write in a real human voice instead of that obvious generic AI language, and then to setting everything up, to promoting it, and working towards those first subscribers. Full tutorials for all 3 side hustles gonna release in the future, so subscribe if you haven't already.